Welcome to this explainer. Okay, today we're diving into a city that totally defies any simple explanation. We're looking at Shanghai, but not just as, your typical bustling travel destination. We're looking at it as this staggering, living piece of art. It's a massive metropolis that's entirely defined by its incredible, almost unbelievable extremes. Seriously, if you want to understand how a single place can feel like a serene ancient painting one second, and then a booming cyberpunk movie the absolute next, well, you are definitely in the right place. Let's jump right in.
So how do you even begin to wrap your head around a city of 24 million people? Well, consider the words of an early 20th century Japanese writer. They describe Shanghai as chaotic, seductive, and almost unreal. And honestly, that is just a perfect description. It really anchors the city's most famous and probably most misunderstood nickname.
And that nickname is Demon City, or Modu. Now, when you hear that, you might instantly think of something dark or sinister, right? But actually, it refers to the chaotic, hyper-modern, and incredibly seductive pulse of this megacity. It's all about a mysterious, almost otherworldly kind of power. It's a city that just pulls you in with its glowing neon and this intense futuristic energy.
Now, this nickname makes a lot of sense when you trace just how rapidly the canvas of the city was painted. I mean, before the 1800s, Shanghai was literally just a humble, quiet little fishing village on the Yangtze River. Then, boom, the 19th century hits and it explodes into a major European treaty port. After that, in the mid-20th century, it was basically closed off to the rest of the world for 40 years. And today, well, it's reopened to become the sprawling, futuristic megatropolis we know now. That rapid, intense compression of history is exactly what creates these wild extremes we're about to explore. But hey, before we get blinded by those neon lights, let's take a quick step back in time. We're going to venture out into the misty, quiet air of the city's ancient outskirts to visit a beautiful place called Zhangjiajie. It's crazy because just an hour from the chaotic, high-speed center of Shanghai, you find the complete and total opposite. People often call this the Venice of Shanghai. Zhangjiajie invites you to literally just drift down these narrow, winding water canals. Imagine stepping off a state-of-the-art bullet train and then suddenly you're walking over ancient stone bridges, passing traditional wooden houses, and just watching these small boats drift quietly by. It's a rare chance to experience the tranquil, slow-paced soul of ancient China, which has been perfectly preserved right on the edge of the future. All right, shifting gears back into the bustling, Puxi side of the city proper, we find another meticulously crafted piece of deep history. We're talking about Yew Garden. This is a 400-year-old Ming Dynasty masterpiece. Originally, it was built as a private, tranquil retreat for government officials to just escape the daily grind. What's really fascinating here is how this garden creates this brilliant narrative of peace right in the dead center of a massive city. First, you leave the intense, buzzing street noise of the surrounding bazaars completely behind. Then, you cross these traditional zigzagging bridges. And actually, here's a super cool historical detail for you. Those bridges were specifically designed to zigzag because back in the day, it was believed that evil spirits could only travel in straight lines. Pretty clever, right? Finally, you just immerse yourself in classic Ming Dynasty serenity, admiring exquisite jade rocks and these incredibly quiet koi ponds.
So all of this begs a pretty massive, fascinating question. How on earth does a quiet landscape filled with ancient water towns, wooden boats, and koi ponds coexist with what is arguably the world's most futuristic, towering skyline? Like, how do these two completely different worlds share the exact same city limits?
Well, the answer lies right here, on the Huangpu River. You can think of this river as the ultimate dividing line of Shanghai. On side one, you have Puxi. That's home to ancient temples and the historic 19th century European colonial architecture of the Bund. On side two, you have Pudong, aka the neon future, absolutely packed with sci-fi skyscrapers. Standing on one bank means looking directly across the water and, quite literally, looking across time into a completely opposing world.
Picture this. If you're standing on the Puxi side, you're on the historic Bund Promenade. It's this 1.5-kilometer waterfront walkway completely lined with perfectly preserved, stunning 19th century European architecture. But let me tell you, the real magic happens at night. Standing amidst these old, historic stone buildings, you are totally anchored in the past, yet you have the ultimate front-row seat to witness the glowing, seductive, modern ambition of the Pudong skyline right across the water.
Okay, let's cross that river. You can take a quick 3-minute ferry or even ride through a crazy neon-lit sightseeing tunnel and inject some serious energy into our journey as we enter the towering, buzzing heights of Pudong.
Now take a look at this number,
546 meters. Or, if you're using imperial measurements, a staggering 1,791 feet. That number represents exactly how high the Shanghai Tower observation deck takes you. It literally puts you inside the highest fully enclosed observation deck in the entire world.
Just to try and comprehend the sheer scale of this experience, imagine stepping into one of the world's fastest elevators. You are zipping up into the clouds at a mind-bending 17 meters per second. Once the doors open and you step out, you're treated to these breathtaking, fully enclosed glass views. You are up so incredibly high that you're actually looking down in awe at other massive world-class mega skyscrapers. They are completely dwarfed by this architectural marvel. It is absolutely the pinnacle of the Demon City's futuristic power.
But you know, Shanghai isn't just about building the tallest glass boxes. Beyond sheer height, the city continuously reinvents its architecture as art. Take the 1,000 Trees building. It literally creates this illusion of a vertical, hanging forest rising right up over the concrete. Then you have 1933 Old Mill Fun. Get this, it was originally the largest slaughterhouse in the Far East, but today, it's been transformed into this incredible concrete sci-fi maze full of creative studios and cafes. And we can't forget the Wuhan Mansion, a stunning, wedge-shaped architectural icon from 1924 that looks a lot like New York's Flatiron Building. Shanghai just has this knack for turning its structural history into incredibly photogenic masterpieces.
Of course, before we wrap up this explainer, we absolutely have to ground ourselves in the city's incredible culinary art. Let's be real, you cannot understand Shanghai without tasting it. Right at the top of the list, xiaolongbao. These are the famous pork soup dumplings, but you have to eat them carefully because they are filled with explosively hot broth that will literally burst in your mouth if you aren't paying attention. Then there are scallion pancakes, super crispy, fresh street food that you can grab from your pennies. And finally, the famous hairy crab. It's a highly sought-after seasonal delicacy that locals absolutely 100% obsess over. So that brings us full circle to our final thought today. Ultimately, we really have to ask ourselves, do these staggering extremes conflict with one another? Or is this exact tension, the quiet of a 400-year-old Ming Dynasty garden sitting right in the shadow of a 1,791-foot neon skyscraper, is that what makes this seductive demon city an awe-inspiring work of art? It is this breathtaking collision of past and future that you simply have to go and experience for yourself. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep exploring.